So thank you, Dr. Sanjay Sharma, uh, for giving us this brief and what we are doing at NITR Chandigarh. So, for information of all the participants during these programs, I would like to share some of the assignments. Okay, sir. So thank you so much, Dr. Sanjay Sharma. And now I would like to share the information to all the participants that during these 5 days programs, I am going to share some of the assignments based upon the lectures, and I would like to share some of the course material also, some papers, research papers which have been written by the presenters, and you can go through those papers, and you need to submit the assignments in time. Whenever the you will get the assignment, only you will get the 2 days to submit your assignments. If you will not submit your complete assignments, you will not get the certificate. Okay, and maybe we will conduct one exam in the end, that we will decide afterwards. And now I am going to share my ppt, and here, I would like to give some of the glimpses of our NITR Chandigarh first before going to my main presentation, because we are the National Institute of Technical Teachers Training and Research, and we have been meant for the improvement of the technical education for diploma programs as well as for the engineering programs. And the NITR has been established in 1967, and we have been given this mark of National Institute of Technical Teachers Training and Research Chandigarh in 2003. And as Dr. Sanjay Sharma told that not only we are conducting MTech and PhD program, we are conducting training program through ICT mode also. And like today, we are conducting the program in ICT mode. And this is ISO 9000 organization, and we have been affiliated with Punjab University and Punjab Technical University. So our programs are recognized by the Punjab University as well as Punjab Technical Universities. If anybody want to have admission in MTech and PhD program, they can they will get the degree from Punjab University or Punjab Technical University regarding MTech and PhD programs. So here we are having the MTech in all the core branches. We are having core branches, all the core branches: mechanical engineering, civil engineering, electronics, electricals, computer. uh, Beside that, we are having another specialized department like rural development department, ETV center, educational and education management, curriculum development center. So these all we are having, and now we are also offering new MTech programs in robotics and other innovative areas which are there, which is very job oriented, right? So here we are the basic activities: educational training, curriculum development. We are also developing instructional materials and research and consultancy services. So here we have developed many curriculums for the states. If the state offer us that we should develop some of the curriculum for their polytechnic and engineering college students, so we used to do that as a consultancy project. And for polytechnic and diploma engineering colleges, we are continuously updating the curriculums with the help of curriculum development department. And also till date we have around 283 print material and video films we are having, around 1885. So that much of video films we have developed in just 3 years, in 2016 and 17, 17, 18, and 18, 19. So these are the online. We are not conducting program on ICT base, but on SWAYAM portal also. So our experts, they are making the online training program on SWAYAM, right? So there are many programs on SWAYAM portal, and here some of the sponsor project we are conducting. Some R&D project we are conducting, Modro project of AICT. So there are many project FDP of digital learning and AICT. We are also conducting international and national conferences. So here you can see that how much research publication our faculty is having. So here we are also offering the consultancy and extension services: Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, student skill development training, recruitment support. Many of the states, they are getting the equipment sports support from NITTTR Chandigarh, and we are having high tech labs. And our mechanical engineering lab, we are having 3D printing also. So here some of the glimpses of mechanical engineering and mechanical engineering and training. We are conducting training program in various fields. You can see on your screen. So here in electrical screen नहीं दिख रहा है सर. Okay. Okay. So now it is shared. Is it shared? Okay. So I'm really very sorry that screen has not been shared. Now I have shared the screen. So here so here, in electrical engineering department, we are having various facilities in electrical engineering department also. So you can have the glimpses of our labs. We are having very high tech lab, and we are continuously updating our labs as per the requirement of the students. We are having PhD students, so many of the PhD students, they want some additional or upgraded equipment. So we are continuously purchasing those equipments also as per the need. So in electrical engineering, we are having PLC, mechanics labs, and in electrical engineering, these are some of the programs which we are offering. So in civil engineering program, as our head of the department told you, that we are offering the MTech program in in construction and technology, and we are having construction and technology lab, soil lab, highway lab, environmental lab, and non-destructive testing lab. And in all the labs, we are having large consultancy we are offering to the states. So these are some of the things which we are doing. We are having the training programs in environment engineering, in structural and health monitoring, soil engineering, disaster management, smart city, and new generation concrete. And here, computer science and engineering, we are having cyber security, cloud computing, software laboratories, and these all are. We are also supporting some of the startups. We are having two startups in our institute. We are supporting our students to start up their own ventures. So these are some of the computer engineering labs. In computer engineering, we are having cyber security, blockchain, Android programming, cloud computing. So these all are Python, MATLAB programming. So these all are the programs, training programs which we are offering in computer engineering. Electronics engineering, likewise, we are having programs in electronics engineering also. So you can have the glimpses. You can have the glimpses of this PPT afterwards. Also, I will share the PPT with you. So in applied science also, we are having nanotechnology lab, laser and fiber optical laboratories. So this is our nanotechnology lab in applied sciences, and we are offering training program in all these areas which you are looking into your which you are seeing on your screens. So this is education and television center. We are having education television center in which we are developing the video films, not only the for the training purpose, but also like the lab manuals. If you want to show your students that how you can operate the equipment, so we are developing those videos also, and the all the videos are available on our website. So this is our facilities. We are having hostel facilities for all the around 400 students, for boys as well as girls. So multi-purpose hall we are having, and we are having two guest house one and guest house two, in which we are having around 60 to 70 number of rooms. So these are the facilities in our guest house. You can also avail the facilities of the guest house by just doing us the mail that you want the accommodation. So we can book the accommodation for you if you want to visit our institute. So this is another initiative of NITTTR. We are having NCTEL portal, on which the you can see the videos on all the branches from all the departments: applied science, civil engineering, computer engineering, curriculum development, education and education management, ETV department, electrical engineering, electronics engineering, entrepreneurship development, mechanical engineering, media and continuing education. These all are, you can see that our videos not only have been observed, not only have been seen in India, but also other part of the country, United States, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, UAE. So more another, yeah, not only in our country but also other world is also following our videos. And you can see here that how much our videos are popular, and how much the participants and how much people they have viewed these videos on our NCTEL website. So you can also see that those videos on NCTEL website. This is all about the what we are doing NITER Chandigarh. And now we are going to our main presentation, because content is more and time is very less. So here I would like to start my presentation. This 1 week short-term program on advanced construction technology. My name is Dr. Amit Goel, and basically I am a civil engineer. My specialization is in structures, and I did my PhD in earthquake engineering from Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee. Right. So now I'm going to take this session on seismic resistant advanced construction practices, especially for the masonry structures, because this is my specialized area, and I did my research in this area. So in this whole presentation, I would like to explain the present scenario of masonry construction, that how the other part of the world, what they are doing, and how you can make this earthquake resistant masonry structures. We have developed one technology, very innovative technology, for which we have applied patent also. So I will definitely explain that technology also. My students, my MTech and my PhD students, they are also working on some of the innovative technologies, because in our world we are the developing country, and we need affordable technology as well as this seismic resistance structures are concerned. As you know, in this month we have experienced around 4 earthquakes. So this is a very serious matter, and advancement in the construction practices must be there if you will talk about any construction practices out of masonry construction. Masonry is used for making a house of a common man. It is used as a infill walls, right? So there are many ways in which we are using masonry structures. So, first of all, I would like to deal with that what type of construction practices are there in our country. So, we are having, the construction practices for rural areas, for urban areas, and rural-urban areas. Now, this term rural-urban areas. Such screen is already shared. Okay, okay. So now are you getting my voice as well as my presentation? Okay, just instruct them that which window they need to select, because now I will not. Not like to stop my presentation, because it will stop. So can I start? Okay, please, all the participants, you are kindly requested to switch off your mics, as well as you are kindly requested, do not share your screen. Do not share your screen. Select a appropriate window on which I am presenting my presentation. So this is the instruction for all the sessions. For all the sessions, you are kindly requested to cooperate with us so that we can deliver a best content on this advanced construction technologies. And you believe us that we will clear your all the doubts. Please bear with us. Now I am going to start my presentation. I am going to start again. So a very good afternoon to all the participants. Now this my presentation is on seismic resistant advanced construction practices for masonry structures. This is specially this special presentation is specially I prepared for masonry structures because this is my specialized area, and I am doing various research in this areas of masonry structures, as well as other area of my specialization is in we are I am developing some affordable dampers by using my PhD and MTech students. So here in this presentation has been divided in different parts. One part, I would like to share that what are the ancient practices of masonry construction and what we are doing from the past, and what are the features which we need to take care of during the seismic resistant construction of masonry, and because we are using this masonry for load bearing structures as well as in framed structure as a infill walls, and on the in the other way also we are using this masonry construction. So I am in the last part of my presentation I'll show you the uh, latest invention done by me, even latest machineries developed by myself for these innovative and advanced construction practices for masonry structures. So you are kindly requested to pay attention for this my presentation. So these are the type of construction that we are having in our country. So first of all we are having three type of. My PPT is not visible. Monica, Monica, Monica. So now you are now it is visible. Now is it now is it visible? You are kindly requested to select that ETV1. ETV1. Sir, sir, there are three icons. There are three icons. You need to click ETV1 with arrow. So all the participants, I am going to share the recording of this session. Also, you can see the recording later on also. So I'll share this recording on YouTube, so you can see that presentation on YouTube also. But you are kindly requested to select the appropriate window to see my presentation. the now please do not disturb, because it will be very difficult to start again and again. So now I'll start from here, that in practice we are having the different areas in our country, that is rural areas, urban areas, and rural urban areas. Right here, if you'll see that rural urban areas is a new term. In the rural urban areas, we are having the areas which are adjoining to urban areas. Like in city Chandigarh, we are having many rural urban areas which are not only adjoining the Chandigarh but also inside the Chandigarh. We are calling it as rural urban areas. So we are having different construction practices in these all areas, because rural areas they are having different needs, urban areas they are having different needs. Urban areas we are having the load bearing structures as well as the frame structure multi-story building, and rural urban areas we are having the mixed structures, right? So we are having also mud masonry, we are having block masonry. So different kind of a masonry they which have been used in rural urban areas, right? So what is the need of this innovative technologies? Why we need innovative technologies more extensively nowadays? Why we are talking about the advanced construction practices? Because nowadays the housing demand have been increased many folds. If you talk about the initiative taken by our honorable prime minister, that we need to provide houses for all, right? We need to provide houses to each and every individual in our country. So if that will housing demand will increase many folds. So we need to have the advanced technologies so that we can provide the housing to all in a limited period. Another thing, scarcity of traditional building material. Nowadays these traditional building materials, it is diminishing day by day. If you'll talk about the southern part of our country, we are using the concrete blocks, right? In place of bricks. But in northern part of our country, we are using bricks. Now these bricks are highly energy intensive unit, because for making one brick you need to take the top fertile soil from the land, and you are burning that top fertile soil, right? So it address the it is also having the environmental issue by burning of the coal or burning of the other kind of a material into the brick kilns. Also create the environmental issue, environmental pollution. So there are various things which need to be addressed, because nowadays we are more concerned about our environment. And as far as the present condition, you can well imagine that how much we have disturbed the environment. That's why we are getting these kind of a problems time and again, right? And another thing, we are having large amount of industrial waste, right? If you'll see the some of the research, that we are putting some of the waste in the concrete, and we are increasing the strength of the concrete. So it is our duty to use this waste in the construction practices, so that we can use by using this waste material, we can create this waste material as an opportunity for the construction practices. There are many materials where waste material which we can use, and which we can develop for the construction practices. Another thing, if you'll talk about the houses for all, you need to take care of the economy in the construction, because you cannot give high cost house to each and everyone. So you need to have in your mind that whenever you are talking about any of the technology, that should be cost effective. That is a major concern in our country, that we are talking about the large technologies, but they are not economical. Though that is the need of the day, and we need to install in some of the special structures. But what about the common man who are residing in their own load bearing houses as well as in multi-story buildings? Do they not have do they are they not eligible to have the economical construction as well as the safe construction? So we need to take care about all these aspects. And another thing, now the climate is changing very fast. If you'll see the climate changing in past few years, so you will experience that climate is changing very fast. This is one of the picture, that how the climate is changing. At one particular time we were having the glaciers, and now we are having lakes instead of glaciers. and in many parts of the country the glaciers are converted into highways. So this is the situation which we are having due to climate change. And what are the effects of the climate change? We are having fires, we are having droughts, we are having floods, we are having cyclones, we are having earthquakes at different interval of time. And if you will remember that when the any of the earthquake engineer, any of the scientist, if you will say that can we predict earthquakes, then he will reply that if we are experiencing small earthquakes at different interval of time, a big earthquake can hit and any in that particular region at any time. So that is the way we predict the earthquake, that if we are experiencing small earthquakes, and nowadays we are experiencing small earthquakes at different interval of time. So this is the warning that we should be aware about this climatic change, as well as this deadly disaster that is called earthquake, right? So what is the impact of this climate change on housing sector? So now I like to throw some light that what is the effect of this climate change on housing sector. If we talk about the climate change, now we are having prolonged winters as well as prolonged summers, right? So that is the reason now we need to, suppose you are residing in some hilly areas, but nowadays in hilly areas we are experiencing summers. So now we need to have that house that can handle the summer situation, as far as the situation, as well as the cold climate condition, it should be handled. Your dwelling should be such that it should handle the summer climate as well as the winter climate as well as the heavy rainfall. Nowadays we are having some of the reason in hilly areas where we were not experiencing the snowfalls, but nowadays, now in these regions also we are experiencing snowfalls. So we need to take the snow load also for these kind of a situation. In flood situation, we need to have the houses so that it can sustain in flood, it should not collapse. We should have the house which should not collapse in case of earthquakes, right? So in these all the climate, we need to have such kind of a building kind construction practices. So if you will talk about the earthquake, now I am going to tell you about the main construction practices as well as the new construction practices which you can follow, which can be followed, and what are the innovations in the field of masonry construction. So here first you need to understand the earthquake, right? Many misconceptions are there by this term earthquake. So, many we are termed it as if the earth will shake, that is called as earthquake. Now we need to understand that why this earth will shake. The earth will shake because of release of large amount of energy during that activity, right? These earthquakes are caused by the movement of tectonic plates, that is called as natural earthquakes as well as man-made earthquakes. But in any earthquake, a large amount of energy is released, and this energy is traveled below the earth's surface, right, in the form of waves. And these waves will enter into your building, and your building will move accordingly. I will not go much detail into the earthquake engineering, what are the magnitude, and I hope that you all know about these terms. And now I will like to move further, because if you want to have this lecture on earthquake engineering, that is available on our NCTEL website of NITTTR Chandigarh, you can refer that lecture also. So this earthquake engineering, if you are, suppose the energy is released in form of primary waves. So primary waves are the compressive type of waves which will move your building, in a like the train, the wagon of the train is moving, right? So your building will move forward and backward. And another thing, if you will have the secondary waves, your building will have the extra compressive force. And if you are having the L waves and R waves, you will have the compressive force as well as the twisting movement. So these all are the movements are there when the earthquake energy will enter into your buildings. And you need to understand when this energy will enter into your buildings, if your building is rigid, this energy will amplifies, right? This earthquake energy will amplify, right? So you need to have some of the some of the technology, so that this energy should not, this if this energy will enter into your building, that should be dissipated, right? So here this is a seismic zonation map of our country. So you can well imagine, in your state, you can see that in which zone you are residing. We are having four zones: zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, and zone 5. Now here, some of you will say we are residing in zone 2 and we are not having that much of danger of this earthquake, but this is not the case, right? If you'll see the past earthquake situation, earlier Bhuj and Latur was in zone 2 and 3, right? But the earthquake of zone 5 hit in that particular region, and we have revised our seismic zonation map. So this seismic zonation map has been developed from the past earthquake, as well as the tectonic plates which are available below the earth's surface. And in earthquake engineering, we are having three specialization. One is structural dynamics, soil dynamics, and seismology. So these are the three specialization. In the seismologists, they used to have this seismic zonation map of our country, so you can see in which zone you are residing. So now, if you will talk about the masonry structures from the historical point of view, our architects and engineers, they have created marvels by using these masonry structures. And you won't believe that researchers and scientists till date have not found any cheap solution that is brick, right? By burning a mud, you are getting that much of strong material which can sustain up to years, right? Only burning of that mud, you are getting that much of hard and strong material. This hard and strong material is very good in compression, but these construction are very bad in case of horizontal loading. In vertical loading, it is very good, they are very good in compression, but in horizontal loading, most of the problem creating structures are masonry kind of construction, right? So what are the in masonry structures, what are the common failure? When, if you see the past earthquake situation, we are having the common failure of walls, that is out of plane failure and in plane failure. What do you mean by this out of plane failure of the wall? See, you need to see these failures, then only you will understand the technological invention. If you will not understand these kind of a failures, you will not understand the technological advancement which we have done in case of masonry structures. So in out of plane, if the what is the difference between the wind force and the earthquake force? The wind force is applied in a particular direction for hours, but if you will talk about the earthquake energy is reversal in nature in second, right? So earthquake energy not only destroy the structure, but it will recover your structure also. Now suppose your force of the direction of the force is in perpendicular to your wall, so that wall will have the out of plane action, right? If you will have the earthquake energy, direction of the earthquake is parallel to that wall, that wall will be in plane direction. So we'll understand by this sketch that what is the in plane and out of plane masonry structure. So before that, these are some of the common failures which we are experiencing in masonry structures. This is out of plane failure, this is corner failures. We are separating the roofs, some cracks will be there. So these are the common practices, common failure practices of masonry structures. So here, if you'll see that what is the out of plane failure, you can you can see that how you are kindly requested switch off your mic, switch off your mic. So this is the out of plane failure. You can see that how the out of plane failure will be there. So if the direction of the earthquake load in this direction, because earthquake force will create inertia force in your building, in your wall, right? So this is the out of plane movement of the wall, and this is the weakest direction of any of the masonry construction, that is out of plane failure, right? So here you will see the in plane failure of the wall when the direction of the earthquake force is in the in plane direction, that this direction of the wall is in plane. Now here I would like to throw some light on the load bearing structure as well as your framed structure. If you'll see that load bearing structures, the load is beared by the walls, right? But in case of framed structures, the load is beared by the beam and columns, right? Whenever the structure engineer used to design any of the framed structure, they used to design the frame, right? And the frame has been designed, and the joints, in the joints they are developing the hinges at a in a uniform way so that the structure can move. But we have designed the frame, but we are putting the rigid infill walls inside your frames. Now suppose this is the frame and you have provided the rigid wall between the between your framed structure. Now when the horizontal loading will be there, when and during any earthquake situation, your frame will move, but your wall is rigid, right? So it will create extra shear force on your beam column joint, right? And you will see the tension. This is the diagonal tension cracks. You will experience the diagonal tension cracks. And what this corner will do of your wall, it will damage your beam column joint, right? It will damage your beam column joint. So here for understanding, to for all the participants, I'll show small videos that how this movement of the frame structure will be there during testing. So here, so here you can see the movement of the wall, you can see the movement of the frame, right? This is the structures which we have tested out of this technology. Here you can see that the frame is moving, and this wall need to move with the frame. Now this wall is moving with the frame, right? That's why this wall is not having diagonal tension cracks. Suppose this wall is rigid, right? Now your frame is moving but your wall is not moving, and it will create extra shear force on these beam column joints, right? And it will destroy your beam column joints, right? From here, from here, from here. That is why the researchers, they are doing research for strengthening the beam column joint. So this is the other way of movement of your frame. You can see that how your frame is moving. So I'll show you in some fast direction. So because this is the pseudodynamics lab, and in this pseudodynamics lab we used to move the frame with a very slow pace and to see that what is happening in the structure. So this is the video we have accelerated that video. That is why you can see the movement of the frame, right? So here you can see the movement of the frame, that how the frame is moving, right? So I think you have seen that how this frame is moving. And we are having this graph of cyclic loading. So here again I'll come to my presentation of this. I hope that you have understood the in plane movement of the masonry structures as well as out of plane movement of the masonry structures for horizontal loading. And you will see these cracks, right? The cross cracks. This will act as a pier, right? Because having this pictures, if you see this picture, you are having this opening, right? Now this part of the building will act as a pier because you are having opening on both the sides, right? So you need to take care of that opening also. Now if you'll see, we have experienced many devastating earthquakes. In 2001 Bhuj earthquake of magnitude 7.7, right? So here, if we'll talk about the earthquakes as well as earthquake engineers are concerned, we measure the earthquake in terms of acceleration, that how much acceleration this particular earthquake has produced, which have been entered into our buildings, right? So in Bhuj earthquake, the acceleration was 0.1 g. Zero point 0.1 g was the acceleration during the Bhuj earthquake. And we have experienced Chamoli earthquake, Latur earthquake, Uttarkashi earthquake. So you all know about these earthquakes. So in these all earthquake, what the lessons which our engineers have learned, they have decided that okay, if you want to have the earthquake resistant structures, so you need to provide the basic bands. I will not go into the details of these bands, but definitely I would like to throw some light that these bands are very essential in case of any masonry structures. The engineers, the scientists, they have developed the technology that you need to provide bands at different location, not only horizontal bands but also vertical band if you are residing in zone 5. So these bands we are providing at different location, at plinth band, lintel band, and roof bands. But now here I would like to tell you that many of the engineers, they are having misconceptions that the picture I am showing, that we are having only two bars available in the bands and you are having the pins, but it is not the case, which you are having which you need to provide the bands in each and every structures. Each and every structures are different. The codal practice, if you'll see the codal practice, our building has been divided into different categories: category A, category B, category C, category D, category E, and according to that, number of stories are there and strengthening to be provided to all stories. So here, if you see the Indian Standard Code, and you will see that if you are having 1 to 3 story or 4 story, you need to provide the situation A, B, and C, A, B, C, F, G. So these all are the provisions which you need to taken care of while designing the masonry structures. It can be there, you need to provide 4 bars in the bands. It is not like that you always need to provide 2 bars, right? So you need to provide 4 bars maybe, or you need to provide 2 bars, right? That depends upon the length and size of the building as well as the category of the building, right? So here you need to provide the bands, and whenever you are providing the earthquake bands, while testing those bands, you here I am showing you the shock table test. This is the shock table testing facility, and in this shock table testing facility, yeah, you can see here in this building, in this shock table, we are this is the impact type of loading which we are providing. And in these impact of type of loading, impact is very high, but the duration of the program is very low. Duration of the program is very low. But in earthquake, the duration is large. You can experience the earthquake up to 20, 30, 40 seconds, right? So here in this test, duration of the shock is very less. That is why we called it as impact type of loading, right? So you can see here the structures which is not having any band is totally collapsed, whereas the structure which are having bands, lintel band, plinth band, it is saved from the horizontal loading. What is the reason to provide how these bands are saving the structure? What is the reason that these bands are saving the structure? These bands are working in two ways. First, they are reducing the unsupported length of a structure. You can well imagine, if a unsupported length of any of the structure is high, it is very weak in case of bending, right? Here we have reduced the unsupported length. At the same time, we have joined all the part of our building with this band. So our building will act monolithically. Will when the horizontal loading will be there, the all the parts of the building will join together and they will help each other, right? So this is called as integrity. So this is how these bands are very important in case of any building structures. So here are some of the principles of earthquake resistant constructions which we are following nowadays, right? So this is the practices which we are following, right? So first principle of integrity, which we have provided the bands, that is called as principle of integrity, right? As well as you need to tie the corners. That is most important. You need to tie the corners. And in any part of the structures, if you are making framed structures, you are making steel structures, you are making load bearing type of structures, any type of structures, the load path is very very important. You need to take care of that when the load will be applied, where it will go. It will follow the well defined path from beams to columns, or from beams to walls, from roof to beams, beams to walls, walls to footing, and footing to the soil, right? So these we need to define well defined path of our structure, right? So here we are having some of the Indian standard codes. I will not go into the details of these in the Indian standard codes, because I need to explain some of the innovative technology in case of masonry construction, because this program is on advanced construction technology. So I will not go into details into the this codal provisions, but we are having these kind of a codes which we need to taken care of for masonry structures: IS 13928, IS 4326, right? So IS 13927. So these all are the codes which we need to take care of for the masonry structures. So now uh, you know as I already told you that the provision in the masonry structures which we need to provide, that it should be improved in the out of plane bending, right? It should be improved in plane bending, right? In case of we need to taken care of weak parts, we need to taken care of corners, right? So these all we need to take care of when we are designing any of the masonry structure. Here I will talk in both the direction, for load bearing as well as for framed structures, right? So here, what are the limitations which we are doing, we are having this earthquake resistant provisions. So what are the limitations? These all are the practices we are offering to this masonry buildings, based upon the ductility, right? We are improving the ductility of a structure, right? Now when we are talking about the masonry structures are different component: your block, your joints, right, and your openings, your doors, your windows. So there are different components in your masonry structures, right? So this ductility, the phenomena of ductility is having very limited efficiency. Second thing, in masonry structures, it is very difficult to achieve complete ductility. It is very very difficult to achieve complete difficulty in each and every part of this masonry construction, right? If you'll talk about the Nepal earthquake, right? In Nepal earthquake, many masonry structure collapsed, right? And these masonry structures, they are very strong in compression, but it is very very weak in as well as cyclic loading is concerned. What do you mean by cyclic loading? Many of the persons, they are not understanding cyclic motion. Whenever I talk to my students, MTech and PhD students, that what is the cyclic loading? That cyclic loading, you are applying the load, you are removing the load, right, in both the direction. In positive and negative direction, you are applying the load, you are removing the load. That is called as cyclic loading. You are providing cycles of loading. You are loading it, you are removing the loads. Yeah, you are loading it, you are removing the loads. So these masonry structures are very weak in case of cyclic loading, cyclic type of loading, right? So what are the alternative mechanism? If these ductility phenomena is not proving very good in case of masonry structure, so what are the other phenomena which we can take? So the concept of damping, right? You can see that if the earthquake energy is damped, it will not transfer to your building, it will not transfer to the length of your building, then your building will be saved. Here, for understanding the concept of damping, I will take the example, two example of one is your very nominal normal car, and one if you are talking about Mercedes, right? If you are talking about the Mercedes and if you are talking about your normal cars, what is the difference between that? When you are riding a nominal normal car, you will experience shocks, right? Because damper of that car is not that efficient. But if you will drive a very good car like Mercedes and other Audi, maybe, right, the damping capability of that car is very good. You will not experience any shock while driving that car, right? So here in Nepal earthquake, here, you know, this slide intentionally I have put this slide because Nepal earthquake have taught us many lessons, right? In Nepal earthquake, if you see the Nepal earthquake, you can see in the picture that in Nepal similar kind of a construction practices are there which we are adopting in our country. We are having the masonry kind of a construction. Nepal is also having the masonry kind of construction. So what is the difference between the other earthquakes and the Nepal earthquake? If you will study the research papers of Nepal earthquake are the long period earthquakes, right? These earthquakes are the long period earthquake. What do you mean by long period earthquake? The duration of the earthquake was more. Each and every building is having its own natural frequency, right? A common man, if you'll understand the earthquake, that the a common man will say that if you will have one or two storied building, it will be safer than the multi-storied building in any of the earthquake. That is the conception that is understood by a common man, all the engineers, that we are having if one story building or two story building, it will be more safe in case of horizontal loading in case of earthquake. But this is not the case. Each and every building is having its natural frequency, and whenever we are doing any research in case of earthquake engineering, first we need to find out the natural frequency of that specimen. According to that, we decide that how much earthquake excitation we need to give to that specimen, so that we can test that specimen up to the ultimate range. So if you'll talk about the single story building, the natural frequency of the single story building is very high. As well as if you'll talk about the multi-storied building, natural frequency of the multi-storied building is very less. Here, if you'll recall your old knowledge that, you know, if you are having a bridge, right, and one army is moving through that bridge, the commander will say that you should not march on that bridge. Why? Because if the resonance frequency of that bridge will match with the resonance frequency of that march, the building will collapse. That means, what is the definition? That at that frequency, the structure will offer least resistance, right? On that frequency, the structure will offer least resistance, right? So, so we need to take care of that natural frequency of the structure. So these Nepal earthquake taught us many lessons because of the earthquakes are of very high frequency, right? So now the question arises that when we are having codal provisions with us, right? Kindly switch off your mic. So if the question arises that if we are having all the codal provisions are there with us, and we are having all the Indian standards with us, still our 90% of the buildings are not earthquake safe. What is the reason behind that? Are we not aware of the earthquakes? Are we not aware of the engineers are not aware of what they are making, what they are designing? Here I would like to I like to tell one example. One of my friend, he's a very good surgeon. He's a cancer specialist, right? He's a doctor here, my very good friend. In my neighborhood, just 1 kilometer away from my house, he made his own house just below the foothills, right? He paid a handsome amount of rupees to the architect, right? And when he has constructed a half of his house, he invited me to see that how he was making his own house. So when I visited that house, I saw that that house was not having a single earthquake provision, single earthquake resistant provision, and that house was situated in zone 5. Now when I told him that your house is very good, but your house is in zone 5 and it is not having any earthquake resistant features. So now the question arises that that how the that is not known to me, that need to be told by that architect to which I have paid handsome amount of money. But still, the half built house, we cannot do anything now. We can do the retrofitting only. So now the question arises that we are having the practices, but we are not having any of the structures. 90% of the structures are not earthquake safe. So now, if we'll say that you can enjoy earthquake by sitting in your home, you will not believe at all that in a masonry structures in your house you can enjoy earthquake by sitting in your home, right? So now in another my slides, you will see some of the innovative technology, some of the innovation which we have done. So then I'll ask the question that can you enjoy earthquake by sitting in your home? Now this technology which we have developed, that is based upon damping, that is interlinked block masonry system with viscoelastic energy dissipator links. That depends upon this technology works upon two type of damping. First one is frictional damping and second viscoelastic damping, right? So I'll tell you what these damping is and how we can achieve these dampings. So this technology is a new, and we have applied patent for this technology, interlinked block masonry system. You can see, I'll share some of the research papers related to the technology, and still the research is going on, and we are finding the different ways by different kind of structures by using these viscoelastic links. So this is the new technology, depend upon frictional damping as well as viscoelastic damping. So before telling you the technology, I need to make you understand that what this damping is and what the damping devices are, right? And how we can introduce these damping devices into your buildings. This is why, because many of you are teachers, many of you are engineers, you can do research at your own level also. You need to first understand the concept, then only you can undertake the research. First you need to be very strong in the concept, right? So here if you'll talk about the energy that earlier in earlier slides I told you that earthquake is a kind of energy, right? And as far as Newton law, the energy cannot be created, cannot be destroyed, but it can change its form from one form to another form, right? So here you can see that the input energy of the earthquake, right? So E1 EI is equal to EK plus ES plus EH plus ED. So here you can see the input energy. I already told you the earthquake energy in during the earthquakes, the structure will not only be damaged, but it also recovers due to that earthquake movement, right? So recoverable elastic strain energy is also there, right? So these are the, if you'll see the energy dissipation concept, right? So the concept is you can absorb the energy or you can dissipate it, right? So if you'll see the concept of energy dissipation in this slide, you can see that the vibration energy that if from the total energy you can decrease the energy, the total energy applied to your building, you can damp that energy. You can see this formula, right? Concept, this is the concept of energy dissipation, right? Ek plus es is the vibration energy, which is equal to, now this energy which is equal to ei, total energy, minus this eh plus ed is your damping energy. That much energy you can reduce from the total energy, you can reduce from the total energy, right? So what is the purpose of this supplemental devices, right? What is the purpose that you will talk about the dampers, energy base isolation system. There are many terms, big terms related to the damping of the energy. So what is the purpose of that damper supplemented devices? First, to your building should be designed to take seismic loads, horizontal forces. Your building should take the seismic load. Another thing, the energy should be dissipated or absorbed by that device. Third thing, your component, your load bearing component should bear only the gravity load, not the horizontal loads. You need to reduce the horizontal loading because your structures are very strong in compression, but they are very weak in horizontal forces. So scientists are very clever. They are reducing the horizontal energy by introducing these devices. Another thing, limit the damage. One thing you should remember, any energy will be dissipated in conventional way by damaging anything, right? Your structure will experience damage. That is how it will dissipate energy, right? But if you will introduce these devices will be damaged, but your structure will be saved. So limiting the damages, and also improve the performance of your structure under dynamic kind of a loading. Dynamic kind of a loading means you are experiencing compressive force, horizontal force, rotation at a same particular time. That is called dynamic loading. That in each degree of freedom your structure is moving, right? So here, if you'll classify as the energy dissipation system, so there are having active damper system, passive damper system, and hybrid system. Hybrid system is combination of both, active as well as passive, right? So here I'll talk about the passive damping system. Passive damping system means tune damper, and tune dampers are further classified as tune mass dampers and tune liquid dampers. And here the passive dampers are also classified as base isolation technology and energy dissipator. Now here, if you have the term of this energy dissipator, this energy dissipator is viscoelastic damper, viscous damper. This is only viscous damper, viscoelastic damper, yielding damper, and frictional damper. By their names you can well understand that viscous damper means having viscous properties. Viscoelastic means viscous as well as elastic dampers. Yielding damper means the damper will yield. Frictional damper means that the energy will be dissipated by the friction between the dampers, right? So these are the energy dissipation system. In active damper, if you will talk about the active damper need external powers. It needs sensors, right? And the researchers, they are doing more research on passive damper. Why? Passive damper do not require any external power, right? And you can install that damper in the structures, right? And it can have the energy dissipation mechanism at any particular time. You need not to have the sensors that if the sensors will activate, then only that device will work. No, it will work as the energy will be there. It will dissipate that energy, right? And in hybrid damper, that is a combination of both, that your active damper as well as passive damper. Your passive system is there, which is attached by the actuators, which is attached by your sensors. And when the excitation will be there, so all the sensors will be activated, and accordingly your damper will work, right? So now I would like to talk about the damper from here. If you'll see, my students, two students, they are working on, one student, they are she is working on frictional damper, right? We have developed frictional damper for framed structure. In a beam column joint, the damper will be installed. That is very affordable damper. The cost of the damper is around 3 to 400 rupees only, right? So testing is going on. I cannot show that picture to you because we are going to apply patent for that damper. That is the research work of my student. I cannot show you, but the technology, the in each beam column joint, we are going to introduce damper, so that when the structure will move, that damper will take all the energy and dissipate by the friction, right? Another damper, viscoelastic damper, similar kind of a damper, but we have changed the material and changed a little bit mechanism. That is viscoelastic damper, which we have developed, but testing has not been done. But for this frictional damper, we have done the testing, and soon you will see that damper in the market, right? So here, the research on this interlinked block masonry system. So that research, in that research, we are having two components. That is, one is interlinking element, interlinking blocks. So here you can see the interlinking blocks. Whenever you are developing any technology, please keep in mind that technology should be very simple. It should be understood by a common man. You should not introduce a tedious kind of a technological thing into your devices, so that the device that you need to take care of, that device, your technology should be applicable into the market, right? So now, for applicable into the market, we have developed these blocks. This is one stretcher block. This just half this block. This is the half block, and little bit a bigger 380 block. This is the corner block. So we have done three type of blocks, and you can see here the grooves in the blocks. These are the vertical grooves, and these are the horizontal grooves, right? For joining these masonry structures, you need not to apply any mortar, because in any of the masonry structures, these joints are the problem creating elements, right? Whenever these joints are very weak in case of horizontal loading. Now we have eliminated this cement joint between the brick, between the blocks. We have introduced a interlinking element, right? We have introduced an interlinking element. Those interlinking elements are made up of used old radial rubber tires, right? When I took up this research, when I go through the literature, then I find that this radial rubber tire is the biggest problem in the world. If you'll see that this is the graveyard situated in Kuwait, right? The biggest graveyard of tires, and in summers it got fired, right? And it produced that much of smoke, and how much environment it is, the threat to the environment, right? And in our country, what we are doing, we are having the biggest market of this old and used radial rubber tire in Meerut as well as in Delhi. So I went to one of the vendor and I asked that what you are doing this with these tires. So he replied that we are recycling the rubber of this tire. So I told that, okay, are you recycling each and every part of the tire? So he replied, no sir, only the upper part of the tire, which is a rubber part, we are replacing that. But we have used the ply of the rubber. That ply of the rubber, he replied, in that ply of the rubber, we are not recycling that part. That part is taken by the brick kiln owners, and because of very cheap fuel, they are burning it into the brick kilns, and you can well imagine how much pollution they are producing. And another thing, in the olden days, we are creating belts out of that material, but due to the advancement of technology, the belts are no more required, right? So this is the abundant material. This is called as ply of the tire. if you'll see on the screen, this is called as ply of the tire. And this, if you'll see the component of the tire is mounted on that ply, right? This ply is very strong. If you'll see that tire is a biodegradable product, if your car will stand for 10 years, you cannot use the same tires because the rubber is a biodegradable product. But this part of the tire is styrene butadiene rubber, which is not a natural rubber. This rubber is created by chemical reaction, right? This is styrene butadiene rubber and having two layers of steel wires and two layers of nylon wires embedded diagonally into it, right? So the material is having life. The I have contacted many of the tire manufacturers. So engineers told me that if you will keep this part of the tire at 100 degrees Celsius temperature for 1 week, the chemical and physical property of this part will not change, right? And this part is has have been made for taking more pressure, more more temperature, more pressure. So this part of the tire is very strong, and we find that the life of this part is very high, right? So we have used this ply of the rubber tire, and we have created these links, right? We have created these links. These are the vertical links, and these are the horizontal links. So you can see that the vertical and horizontal links are there. So these two links, if you see that now the vertical and the horizontal link, if you'll see the block, these vertical links have been prepared for taking the translation, right? And these horizontal links are prepared to take rotation, right? So we have taken care of translation as well as rotation, right? We have taken care of both the action of masonry. So these are the components which we have introduced in the block masonry system, and we have tested both this technology extensively on shake table and shock table as well as quasi static testing facility of IIT Roorkee. So here I would like to show you a small video film of 5 to 6 minute duration, which this technology has been selected in Make in India, and we have created that video film for our honorable prime minister. So I would like to show you that video film so that each and everybody can understood that technology. Earthquake. Earthquake is a natural phenomenon and cannot be stopped. Thousands of people lose their lives during earthquakes.
very cheap cost in the commodity market. This can much higher. The developed also takes significantly lower.
So this was the technology, a small video films developed by us, and in this technology, I would like to share here that I talked about the natural frequency of the structure, and when we have tested the natural frequency of the structure, you can see that the natural frequency of the structure is 9.37, right, and 6.25, and when we have compared this earthquake energy, this the testing on shake table facility, when we have created the transfer function, that how the energy has been created and how it has been dissipated. You can see here during the impact, the earthquake energy has been increased up to 300%, And at that frequency, at that natural frequency of a structure, the energy has been dissipated, and it has been only 0.3%. 0.3% energy has been left. That means around 80% of the energy has been dissipated through these particular links, right? So this is in shock table test facility. You can see here that the acceleration is around 1.5 g, and here at the roof level the acceleration has been we are getting very very minimal acceleration. So you can well imagine that when your structure is not joining by any of the motor, only with the viscoelastic links, then only it can perform very well. It can dissipate energy up to a maximum extent. Here I would like to show you the picturization by the high speed camera, because the earthquake, whenever we are doing any of the testing, the test is at a very fast rate. We cannot see the movement of the blocks. So we have installed a high speed camera, and we have captured the frame around 1000 frames per second. In 1 second the camera was tuned to take 1000 pictures, right? If you'll see the camera, the high speed camera, you can see that the joints have been opened around 100 mm, right? During that shock the joint have been has been opened 100 mm, and after that shock the joint has been completely closed after dissipating the energy. If you'll imagine that your masonry structure, if your joint will open 100 mm, your building will collapse, right? But here it will return to its original position. So this is the picture taken by high speed camera. So you can well seen that using high speed camera you can see that very very minutely to your structural performance of any of the testing. So this is the high speed camera picture. So this is the technology is having many advantage, because it is a very fast construction, and the cost of the construction we have reduced 30% in lab. If this technology will enter into the market, and the competition between the technologies will be there, the cost of the construction will further reduced, right? So what we are the facing some of the challenges, earlier we were facing the challenges for construction of these blocks, and making of these viscoelastic links, and awareness about the technology. And at this time we have successfully eliminate these challenge up to a certain extent. We have built the interlinked block making machine. So here I would like to show you the interlinked block making machine. So this is a interlinked block making machine. So this is one of the vendor who allowed me to make some of the change in its old machine, right? So we have made some of the changes in the old machine. So you can see there that is the egg laying machine. We have converted this egg laying machine. So this is how we have developed this block making machine, and for making the house of 1000 square feet, we need to have 8000 blocks. And this machine, this is a small machine which we have developed. It can make 500 blocks in a day, right? And one machine which is a bigger one, that can make 2000 blocks in a day, right? So this machine we have developed. We have also developed one machine for making this for cutting the rubber tires, right? So for cutting the rubber tires, we have already made this machine. So this is the machine which we have developed for cutting the tires. So this is what we have developed, and we have tried to transfer this technology to the masses, so that our people, our countrymen can save their lives during earthquakes. And you can see that video on YouTube. If you type the on YouTube that IIT Roorkee earthquake, you will see one movie uh, on YouTube. The technology has been covered by NDTV, and we have also this short video film which you have seen. This is also available on IIT Roorkee website, so you can watch that video film from there. So this is all about my presentation. So thank you so much, and now we will take some queries. So thank you. Okay, so this is the very obvious question. Whenever I used to this presentation, many of the person they used to ask that whether we can plaster it. Yes, you can plaster it. Why I have shown this unplastered surface? Because that was the research part. We are taking out our blocks, and we are using those blocks again, because in the higher impact time, the blocks are not damaged, so we can reuse our blocks in our further research. But you can plaster. The plaster is having very less strength. One thing here I would like to tell you, that the technology will not work during small earthquakes. The building will act conventionally during small earthquakes, but if the acceleration was will be small. But during a large acceleration, your plaster will be cracked, and your technology will save your house, right? And you can well imagine, if you are experiencing magnitude 8 or 9 earthquake, only your plaster will crack, but you will be safe in your house. Yes. हाँ जी सर, पूछिए. सर, आवाज आवाज कट रही है सर. ओके, ओके, ओके. सर, मैंने आपने प्रेजेंटेशन सुनी नहीं. दिस द मटेरियल, द अपर पार्ट ऑफ द टायर इज बायोडिग्रेडेबल, बट दिस ply of the tire on which the tire is mounted, this is not the rubber. This is styrene butadiene rubber. This is not the biodegradable material. If you will keep this material at 100 degrees Celsius temperature for 1 week, the physical and chemical property will not change. Okay. Any other question? Yes. Yeah. Yes, you can reuse the, but it will not be possible if you will make the big house, right? We have made the models, we have made the full scale models, and that is why we are using these blocks again. But if you will make your own house, right? If you'll make your own house, yes, you can reuse those blocks as you are using that bricks. That you can reuse it, no problem. Yes, yes, yes. So if you have seen the video in that full scale models, we have already kept the doors and windows. We it will help to fix the door or windows, because these horizontal grooves, right? The horizontal grooves, you can straight away put your door frames in those grooves, right? It will be easy to put doors and windows. Lintel beam normal. See in this technology, you need not to provide any of the earthquake features. No horizontal bands, no vertical bands, nothing. You need to provide only one beam, lintel beam on the door. That's it. Yeah. Yes, yes. Yes, yes, similar system, sir. See, when we started to develop this technology, we have decided that if we will change many things, so people will not adopt that, right? So it door and window frames that is having fasteners, that fasteners will be attached with that frame, that blocks very easily, very easily. Cost aspect, yeah, cost aspect, we have reduced the cost. See, the cost has been reduced how? First, the if you are making your house in 6 months, this house you can make in 2 months time, right? So labor cost will reduce. Second thing, you are not putting mortar in between, that cost will be reduced, right? And if you want to make earthquake resistant construction, around 10 to 15% cost will be increased. But in using this technology, you need not to provide any of the earthquake features. See, we have developed the model in IIT Roorkee, and we because this technology is under patenting, and one of the agencies has already been there for purchasing for buying this technology. Uh, till date, in practically in the field, in any of the region, we have not developed any of the house, because we did the presentation in each and every form, but still we are trying our level best to to transfer this technology in the field. But we in my final words, that we need industrial intervention. We are the researchers, right? We can do the research, we can develop the product, but it is the industry which need to be come forward for applying this technology. We are approaching many of the agencies, L&T, everybody. They are convinced that technology is very good, right? The technology is very good, but now they need to find that how they will implement this technology in the field. But we are trying our level best. As soon as we will get the patent, we will definitely sell it to the company. Okay, limitations. So limitation, see limitations in load bearing structures, we are recommending up to 4 story, right? And in framed structure, you can go up to any height, and you can use this technology as an infill. If you will see that that video which I have shown, that frame structure, movement of frame structure, The same technology has been applied as an infill wall. Sorry. See, madam, okay, okay, see, first we need to understand the working of shear wall, why we need to provide the shear wall. Can you tell me why we need to provide the shear wall in the building? No, shear wall is provided to resist the shear force. The shear force, you know, I told already told you that we are putting a rigid frame between the rigid wall between the frame, right? That is a rigid wall that will create extra shear force to the structure. That extra shear force will be taken care by shear walls, right? But if you will provide walls by using this technology will help the structure for their movement. It will not resist. It is because it is not rigid wall. It is a flexible wall, right? When the structure will move, this technology will pull back that structure into its original position because of that viscoelastic links, right? See, magnitude in terms of when as far as earthquake engineers are concerned, we always talk in terms of acceleration. In Nepal earthquake, the acceleration of that earthquake was 0.18 g, right? But we have tested this structure in the real earthquake situation up to 0.36 g, which is the maximum codal provision, 0.36 g, and in shock table we have tested this structure up to 3 g, right? Matlab double the loading. नमस्कार. हाँ जी प्रभात जी. Yeah, we are doing it. Prabhat ji, we are doing it. If you'll know Naveen, if you'll know that Nidin in IIT Roorkee, Nidin Kothapalli, Nidin Pacha. So he is modeling that he's taking my research forward, and he is developing the mathematical model for this link, right? Okay, thank you. Yes, yeah. Sir, it will be very difficult to convert acceleration into Richter scale because there are many factors associated with that. That is why, see, we are more concerned with the how much acceleration is entering into the building, right? In regardless of any earthquake, always we used to calculate the acceleration out of the signatures of the earthquake, right? Each and every earthquake is having different signature. By using softwares we used to calculate the acceleration, that how much acceleration has been induced during that earthquake at a particular location. So in Indian standard code also it is given that the two terms are there, that is called as, one is called as design based earthquake, one is called as maximum considered earthquake, right? The design based earthquake is 0.18 g, that is designed based earthquake. Another thing is maximum considered earthquake is 0.36 g, that is the maximum limit given in the code, but it is very difficult to tell you in the magnitude, right? मैंने आपको ये बता दिया है. I told you that in Nepal earthquake having magnitude 7.7 8 point something, 7.8, sorry, the acceleration was 0.18 g. No, that doesn't mean that doesn't mean because because in Bhuj earthquake the magnitude was something 7.4 or 7.6, right? But the acceleration generated was point 0.1, point 0.1, right? But in Nepal it was 0.18. So that is why I am telling you, you can convert it, but it is difficult, right? Okay. Any other query? One more. You can, sir, you can. This video I have shown you, the testing which we have done for the full scale modding model. But when you will make your own building, you need to plaster your building, because the plastering is done not only for strength, for other purposes also. You need to grout that building. Grouting will be done, and your building will be safe from water. This is a solid block of 9 inches. It will not only provide you protection from the water, but also from the voice. The sound outside will not come inside the house. So- Sound protection will also be there. So yes, chat box. सर जो ये पीपीटी है, मैंने आई हैव डन द रिकॉर्डिंग ऑफ माय सेशन. This recording I will share on YouTube, right? And on, not only on YouTube, I will share with you. You can download on from YouTube. I will share you, because I have done the recording of this session. Okay, many of the persons, they ask the question that I will share the link of my that video film, YouTube video film. No problem, I will share the link. And another person asked what is there out of plane action. So the answer is, you have seen the video that in impact type of loading, that how much the out of plane, the wall moved around 200 mm and come back to its original position. So out of plane movement, we have already tested it in out of plane movement. So if, in conventional wall, if the your wall will move 3 to 4 mm, it will collapse, right? So I think no other such question. So okay friends. So friends, I think this session is over. I am very thankful to all of you for joining the session. And our next session will be of Professor Ajay Duggal on geosynthetics, and the session will start at 3 o'clock. And you are kindly requested to join 15 minutes before the session. You are kindly requested to join before 15 minutes before the sessions. And to all of you, I will share the assignments related to this session. You are kindly requested to submit the assignment uh, within 2 to 3 days, right? But as far as when we will close this 1 week short term program, your all the assignment should be with me, right? Otherwise we will not issue the certificates, or we will not mark your attendance, right? It is mandatory that all the participant should submit their assignments. Okay, so thank you so much, and we will join with the next session at 3 o'clock. Thank you so much. Thank you, Monica. Monica, thank you so much.